What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 399 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where I will be breaking down some of the current events, the rumors, the news, the gossip, and everything else that went down in the world of professional wrestling over the past few days that I feel like talking about. Who am I? I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. So let's just dive into things here. I got a couple things to talk about, and I'll just take care of this one really quickly. WWE released a new WWE Day Of video. This one is behind the scenes of WWE Extreme Rules with Samoa Joe. Don't bother watching it. It's pretty pointless. These WWE Day Of things are really not all that great, and this one was a perfect example of that. It was basically another Samoa Joe promo leading up to a match that he lost. So you already know that he's not going to win the match. And he doesn't say anything that's all that different. He doesn't do anything that's all that different. It's just kind of pointless. It's just an extra, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was. I don't even remember because I forgot about most of it already. It was like 2 or 3 days ago. And I kind of just pushed that out of my brain. So yeah, don't bother wasting your time on that one. It's not something worth watching. I will say, though, that you should check out the WWE photo shoot with Shane McMahon. Now, that one was a little bit more on the side of providing a little bit of insight and going back on the memory lane side of things. So it's not the best that I've seen. Certainly not the best when it comes to all the general shows. But even when it comes to photo shoot, it's not necessarily the best. But they've had some pretty bad ones too. So I like this one a lot better than that. And I ultimately, push comes to shove, I say go ahead and see that one. So before I move on to the two main topics, because there's really only two other topics I want to talk about here, I just want to throw out some plugs for everybody to listen to. One of them being the fact that I'm not the only one that's supposed to be chiming in about their opinions about this kind of stuff. I want to know what you have to say about this. So if you are on our audio-only streams, like iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Anchor, Podbean, whatever the case may be, and if there's no platform to leave some kind of a comment, and to be perfectly honest, I'm unaware of those comments. If they are, then leave a star rating while you're over there and hop on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Ring that little bell for notifications, drop a comment below. That way you'll not only be aware of the next couple of videos that are going to be coming your way because you got the notifications behind them, but you'll also be encouraging more discussion. And, I'll be trying to get back to people and stuff like that. So, hey, you know what? That's part of the fun with this whole thing. You could also leave a comment on smarkoutmoment.com on this page for the hot tags post, or on pretty much any other page. I mean, I'm getting emails from different things. So again, I like to try to engage in that when I have the chance and when people toss out some particularly interesting questions or something. So go ahead and do that and let me know what you think about these kind of things. Also, on the plug side of things, if you're unaware, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Both of those are at SmarkOutMoment. And you should be checking the other things that are happening on smarkoutmoment.com because we have things other than just the podcast side of things. One of them being the Sexiest WWE Superstars tournament, which is going on right now, and it's about to end. So if you want to vote for Finn Balor or Tyler Bate or Liv Morgan or Sasha Banks, then vote while you can, because I'm going to be shutting that poll off sometime on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on my schedule. I don't know. So if you haven't done that vote already, and you haven't voted on who do you think has the best personality, the best face, the best body, and the other kind of extra questions that go along with that, then vote while you can. And we'll be breaking that down on the next video that you see on Smark Out Moment, or here on Smark Out Moment, since it's not really a whole lot of visuals and stuff, but you should be looking at the screen for at least a little bit of it anyway, because, hey, I make these graphics, so, check them out. There's also, just really quickly to put it out there, fanboysanonymous.com for my geek culture side of things. And if you are wanting to help us do more in the future, and overall you want to see more of Smark Out Moment, and you want to have more different types of special features and just more podcasts in general, and for me to be able to hire more people on the staff and to actually potentially even pay the people, because this is a volunteer only kind of position, then the Patreon is the best thing that you should be aware of for that. And that's just, throw a buck our way, throw $5 our way, whatever it is, it all goes towards making this website better. So it's all greatly appreciated as well. Whatever spare change you got, you can toss on the merchandise side of things as well. There's a TeePublic and a Redbubble shop for not just Smark Out Moment, but like the t-shirt side of things and stuff like that also carries over to A Mango Tees. and Fanboys Anonymous. So browse around, see if you like anything. Most recent sale that I got was somebody picked up a Captain Deadpool phone case, and somebody bought a sticker of the Fickle thing from Daniel Bryan. So, wide variety of little things there. More options used to be available before they took them down and stuff. So you never know when I'm going to pop something up on there, and just stay tuned for that kind of stuff. But that is the direct monetary means to kind of keep things going here. There's also a PayPal button, but I mean, come on, that's a different side of story. That's if you want to just go, skip the middleman, let's skip the Patreon thing and just do that. But those are the plugs. You don't want to listen to the plugs. You want to listen to what I have to say about the WWE Monday Night Raw reunion show. Now, I thought that this was one of those concepts that they didn't think too hard about it, that they just said, you know what, why don't we do that? That old people will want to watch the people that they've used to, follow every Monday night, and new people are going to think that this is something special. And all right, I guess we're done, and let's call it lunch. You bring a bunch of people back and you don't really do too much with them, is what we've seen with like SmackDown 1000. And that's a little bit what we saw carried over into here. There were some good things about it, and there were a lot of bad things about it. Overall, I'm not a big fan of it. So I wanted to kind of break that down a little bit and talk about, my overall thoughts about some of these things. And you can read an article that I wrote up on Bleacher Report for this. It's got some of the best and the worst moments and stuff, but I want to go in a little bit more detail here. It's easier to do this on the podcast than to write up articles and stuff. So the first segment was John Cena with the Usos, and then eventually Rikishi, and then eventually the Revival, and then eventually Devon Dudley. No Bubba Ray Dudley, which that's always a shame because the Dudley boys are kind of a package deal, which that also meant no tables, which at that point, what's the point of having one Dudley out? Not even Spike. And Rikishi doesn't do the Too Cool dance, and the Revival and the Usos fight again. So that was a really weakly booked segment. Then we had Alicia Fox putting on a hat and talking about how she wants something that's like 50 feet, and they classified Alicia Fox as one of the legends here, which I think is very strange, because last time I checked, she was an active member of the roster and just hadn't really necessarily wrestled in a while, because she had made a couple appearances since then, but for the most part, she had just not really been around since that whole Arn Anderson situation, and I guess she's a legend now. Who would have figured? Well, she has been there for a long time, so I mean, that's not something that completely write off, but I thought that she was a member of the roster, and I guess that they're beyond that point now. That's kind of strange. Caitlyn was there, Tori Wilson was there, Santina Marella was there. He did this creepy thing with Cobra. It was just, I don't know, didn't really like that. But he did mention Santina. That was kind of funny, and I liked that McIntyre just kind of laughed off the idea of like, oh, these people are legends. We had this thing throughout the night that was my favorite part, which was the 24/7 championship, and I'll kind of break that down a little bit. But let me talk about some of the other littler things. Godfather shows up, no hose. So what's the point of the Godfather showing up with the hoe train if there is no hoe train? Then it's just a solo train, or I don't know what you would call that thing. Not sure how to feel about Drew McIntyre beating the crap out of Cedric Alexander. Kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it's one of those hollow segments that I can't really get behind all that much. So, blah about that. Christian's on commentary. Booker T's on commentary earlier in the night. Lillian Garcia does announcing. That stuff's like fine, whatever. Take or give it. Viking Raiders beat Ryder and Hawkins. They're acting like that's never happened before, even though they specifically did that to earn a championship match that they never received. So there goes that need for the continuity script supervisor, huh? Yeah, call me up. People partying backstage. There's a little thing with Eve Torres and Eric Bischoff and this whole Canella storyline. I'm not digging the Canella storyline. I've mentioned that before. So that's just kind of blah to me. We got Ron Simmons, we got Jimmy Hart, we got the club. It's now referring to themselves as the OC, which either stands for the original club or the official club or the only club. I don't really like it. It makes me think that they're just from like California, the Ocean City thing or something. Samoa Joe cut this promo. It led into Roman Reigns fighting with him, which led into, I guess we'll have a match, which led into nothing. So that was kind of a waste. Probably my least favorite part of the night, Miz TV with Seth Rollins blabbing on about Brock Lesnar. It's the same old shit you see every single time. Paul Heyman comes out. It's just, I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar. No, you won't. Let's move on. Let's just skip the segment. I would much rather SummerSlam not have that match on the card, and for me to not have to listen to these promos, and for them to just flat out admit, look, we're not going to have Brock Lesnar on and not do anything or whatever, for them to do that, than to actually act as if they're doing something, because they're not. And I've talked about this ad nauseum, so I'm just going to Brock Lesnar roll that and not talk about it anymore for right now. We had Jillian Hall backstage. She didn't do a damn thing. And we led into the Sami Zayn Mysterio fight. A little bit later on, we had that going on. And Sergeant Slaughter, Rob Van Dam, Kurt Angle, and the Hurricane made sure that Sami Zayn didn't run off. So Mysterio wins just because, hey, he lost to Bobby Lashley. Let's have him get a win back, I guess. I don't know. What else do we have going on here? Other than the 24/7 title, because I want to save that for last. Lawler joined commentary. Oh, then we had this whole thing with the club. And we had Seth Rollins and AJ Styles against each other. A match that a lot of people would have liked to have seen. Well, pretty quickly on, becomes a DQ because of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. And Shawn Michaels and Triple H kind of help out a little bit. Reinforcements come in even more, and it's more of DX and NWO with Road Dogg, X-Pac, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. No Billy Gunn. And then he goes, I forgot Billy, which I thought that was kind of funny. But the segment itself was just kind of strange. It didn't really work out all that well. I don't think it was booked all that well. And I feel like not only does this not make the club look any better in particular, but this didn't really give anybody a chance to shine or anything. Like, Scott Hall didn't do anything but stand there. Kevin Nash didn't do anything but stand there. It's kind of just, it's almost like this whole episode was like a first pass of them going, I don't know, just have them go out there. And then somebody's like, have them go out there and do what? And they're like, just have them go out there. That's all that matters, is that they went out there. Because later on, we even had Mark Henry, and he was just backstage. And then he just came out on the stage. He didn't do anything. Mick Foley was in the ring. He got attacked by Bray Wyatt, which I guess it's okay because he did the mandible claw. But that's it. I don't like this Bray Wyatt thing. I think that this is like the least amount of effort that they're putting into trying to claim that this is a repackaging or a change in his character. And it's literally just a mask and a new fucking pair of pants. So I don't care. We had a stupid Moment of Bliss segment with Becky Lynch and Natalya. Now apparently they really fucking hate each other. I thought it was stupid. I didn't see the point in having it be a Moment of Bliss either, because there was no point that they couldn't just do with like a regular promo. Braun Strowman beat a jobber. That's kind of fun seeing him toss people around, but that's about it. And it ended with Ric Flair coming out and doing nothing, Hulk Hogan cutting the same Hogan promo that he's cut a million times in his life, and Steve Austin coming out. Now, Stone Cold, you can at least usually bet, is going to cut a pretty decent promo, get the crowd fired up, and then give somebody a stunner. And he really should have done something with Kevin Owens, because that whole stunner thing. Instead, he talks about WWE is a family, the wrestlers are a family, the crew is family, the fans are family, and it's all about family, and family, 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 and we're a family because we're a family, and it's a family because families are families, and family, family, family. How much time do we have left? Hey, I bumped into Ron Simmons backstage. He's like family or something. And Gerald Briscoe, he's here. Hey, family. Are we done yet? All right, see you later, everybody. Stupid ending to a very lackluster show. But I will say, the only thing that I took away from this that I really liked was the 24/7 championship. And it went full on just ridiculous with this gimmick. Drake Maverick beats R-Truth with a little bit of help from Renee Michelle. That turns into the Boogeyman gets Drake Maverick a little bit scared, and Pat Patterson takes advantage of that. He wins the championship, and I'm pretty sure that Pat Patterson is now the oldest person to ever win a championship in WWE, because Fabulous Moolah was, if I remember correctly, like 75 or 76, and Pat Patterson is 78. So congrats to Pat Patterson, making history here. We had a little bit later on after that, Patterson is backstage, and it shows that Gerald Briscoe had pinned him. So Gerald Briscoe, the Stooges, they turned on each other and everything. And he shows it off to Kelly Kelly, who then kicks him in the balls and wins the title. Kelly Kelly has now made history. She's the first ever women's 24/7 champion. She trades that over to Candice Michelle, and that's from Melina wearing a referee outfit. That was kind of funny. And right after Candice wins it, Alundra Blaze makes her tap out. And then here's where things got 10 times better. Alundra Blaze gets ready to put the championship in a trash can, typical Medusa style, and Ted DiBiase buys it from her. Fucking amazing. Absolutely loved that. One of my favorite moments that I've seen from anything in WWE this year. And then eventually Ted DiBiase has to drop the title back, so he gets in a limo, and we find out that Drake Maverick pinned him during that process. And then right after that, you get some distraction and R-Truth wins it back, but he not only gets it back, he also goes into the not the hotel. He goes into the limo with Renee, Michelle, and they drive off. So now R-Truth has the 24/7 championship and Drake Maverick's wife. It's just silly and stupid and absolutely ridiculous, and I loved it. And that Ted DiBiase title change might be my favorite one of the entire year. So big fan of that. And if it wasn't for the 24/7 stuff, this would be an awful episode of Monday Night Raw. So they should not be patting themselves on the back for this. They should be very scared. If they brought in all these names and that's all they could think of to do with them, I could think of, I'm sure, 30 ideas in 15 minutes that would have been better than some of these ideas. I mean, as simple as you have Kevin Owens go out there and do something with Stone Cold, and he kind of passes the torch, and they do stunners to a bunch of different people. Okay, do that. Do that to Shane McMahon. Do that to Vince McMahon if you can. Why not? You've got Baron Corbin. How come nobody did anything to Baron Corbin? Why are we wasting time on a Paul Heyman promo talking about the same thing with Brock Lesnar that we do every single time? Why are we wasting time with Becky Lynch and Natalya? It's almost as if they think that everybody has short-term memory loss, and it's bothering the hell out of me because you don't need to watch any of these episodes, because not only do they remind you of everything that you should be reminded of before the pay-per-view matches, it's also just not that fucking difficult to track these storylines. Becky is now going to be challenged by Natalya. Natalya is going to try to win the title, and Becky doesn't want her to win. The end. That's it. It's not that fucking complicated. So are you trying to make it seem like they're in this bitter rivalry that's lasted for 30 years or something like that? They're not. Just abandon that storyline. And if they're not good enough, especially when it comes to Brock Lesnar, if putting that name out there of Brock Lesnar is in a title match does not sell the card, then I hate to break it to you, but then Brock Lesnar is not the draw that you think he is. And you would think that on a card that was all about embracing the past and bringing back older superstars to try to pop a rating, that they would understand that the idea that Brock Lesnar not showing up on any kind of event is not going to pop a rating, because the whole point of him being a draw to watch means you need to see him on that show to want to watch him. But look at me trying to apply logic to a WWE thing. How stupid is that, isn't it? Which makes me go into the next thing. This is a final hot tag that I got going on for the night. They are doing another event. Every fucking week, it seems, we got an event nowadays. And this one is really stupid. It is Smackville. They're doing a house show this Saturday, June 27th. It's happening at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. And because it's Nashville and they're having the SmackDown brand there, they're just calling it Smackville. They just have a generic guitar for the logo. It's just, it's the simplest thing we can do. It'll take 5 minutes. We'll just do that. And this card is completely worthless in the sense of nothing is going to happen. But I wanted to break it down for you anyway. This is what's being advertised, and we don't know what's going to actually be on the card for like the actual show itself on the WWE Network, or what is just going to be the house show portion. But basically, look at this as the Shield's final chapter, because that is what this is. This is number 2 of those let's record a house show type things. Actually, it's number 3, now that I'm thinking about it, because Starrcade was another one of them. So we are getting the SmackDown Tag Team titles on the line. The New Day is going to fight some team. They haven't announced it yet. We have, and I'm assuming that they're just going to retain, the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's going to be in a triple threat match. Bayley is going up against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They haven't said whether or not that's going to be on the card or not, and I'm kind of assuming that they will put that on there, because last time around we had 3 matches. We had 2 men's matches, one of them being the Intercontinental Championship and one of them being the Shield, and then the other one was a women's match. And it seems like it would be kind of strange if they had an event that didn't have a women's match on it at this point, even if it is only like an hour and a half show or 2-hour show or whatever it is. But that is, I can't imagine Alexa Bliss wins that championship, and I can't imagine that Charlotte Flair wins it, because we've already been announced that Bayley is going to go up against Ember Moon at SummerSlam. So unless they plan on doing something just for the pure wow factor of a title changing hands and then changing hands again on SmackDown or something, there's really no point in watching that, other than if you just really, really like these 3 and you really think that they're going to put on a hell of a show. I don't think that they're going to do a bad job, but I don't think that it's worth my time, and that's disappointing. We have the Intercontinental Championship is on the line between Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor, because remember we had that Finn Balor and Nakamura match, which that was the entire basis of their feud, and then they had that other one 5 days later, and Nakamura won the title. Well, now it's just the automatic rematch clause. So Finn Balor is supposed to be taking time off, either before or after SummerSlam, and he may wait until SummerSlam and have a match with Bray Wyatt, but that may not be the case either, because they didn't really do anything that has pushed that further along. So maybe he just loses this and he just fucks off and he doesn't do anything at SummerSlam, and that's just Nakamura beating Finn Balor for the 3rd time in a row. I'm not really interested. I've already seen their matches twice. I got a feeling like I know what they're going to do. I can't imagine that they're going to do anything all that much different than what they did at these other 2 shows, which means if I really wanted to watch that again, I would just go and rewatch Extreme Rules, wouldn't I? Or rewatch the episode of SmackDown that they were on. Rematches are not inherently interesting if they are just going to be a repeat of what we've seen. So since this has no gimmick to it, there is no extra interesting elements of, I don't know, like it's a submission match or something like that, or this person is going to be a special guest referee, or anything that could really change the game up, then why am I watching it again? You know, if I wanted to eat the same meal every single day, I would just buy the same food. And if I watched only the same episodes of reruns of television shows, then I would never watch any new episodes of anything. And it's lazy. And it's stupid, and it's not the type of thing that's going to make people want to watch either, because what's the selling point? Hey, do you remember this match that we just had twice in the past 2 weeks or whatever it was? We're going to do that again. Okay. Why do I care? It's going to be a musical performance by Elias. I'm assuming that it's just going to be the typical thing of him insulting Nashville. Maybe Jeff Jarrett comes out. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's something as simple as Finn Balor attacks Elias, and then that's how they start that match. It's not a selling point to me either. And then we have the WWE Championship. This is the thing that they're selling this on. It's a triple threat match between Kofi Kingston and the guy that he beat at Extreme Rules and the guy that he beat before that in the previous 2 events, Samoa Joe and Dolph Ziggler. So we already know that Kofi Kingston is going to announce his SummerSlam opponent on SmackDown before this event, which means he's going to say, hey, I am not losing my championship in a couple of days, and I'm going to fight Randy Orton, or I'm going to fight whoever the case may be. I'm assuming it's Randy Orton, but that is just kind of spoiling that already. So, look, I'm a big fan of Kofi Kingston, and I'm a big fan of Samoa Joe, and I used to be a big fan of Dolph Ziggler, even though I feel like that's kind of gone by the wayside. Being a big fan of these people and thinking that they can do amazing things does not necessarily mean that they are always going to do amazing things, or that they can save this from being a worthless card, because I would rather them not do this and for me to spend that amount of time sleeping than to watch this card. I feel like there's no reason to watch it, and that's a shame. But WWE, for some reason, thinks that this is going to be enticing enough. And I want to know if you actually think that it is. Is this the type of thing that if they put these shows that seemingly are going to have no title changes, and they're going to be repeats of matches that we have seen, and really kind of like almost like non-canon in a lot of ways to certain things, is this going to make you want to pay an extra $5 a month for the WWE Network to get these shows? Is this going to make you want to buy a ticket to that show more? Is this going to make you want to tune in on Saturday night? Because if this is WWE's idea of counter-programming for AEW, why don't they understand the idea that if the regular shows that they put more effort into, which it still seems like it's pretty lazy, if they put more effort into that and there's more of a selling point for something like a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown, and that doesn't even have the competition for AEW yet, and they still can't get people to tune in, why would they think that Smackville is going to change that? Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like it, and I don't really care about this event, but it's an event, so I'm going to have coverage of it on smarkoutmoment.com. I'm not going to do a post-show. I'm going to cover that on the hot tags next week, but at some point, I will be telling you how I feel about this, and that's your job as well, to tune in and see what that's all about and to tell me what you think and all the other kind of elements to go along with that. And that'll be it for this week's Hot Tags. 399 of these. It's more than 399 podcasts, but it's 399 weeks at the very least. And that's crazy. So 400 is coming up. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with the 400 or not, or if I'm just going to kind of make that just be the mailbag, but that is going to be the mailbag, most likely. I didn't do one yet for July, so we got to do one at some point. So I know that I had gotten a submission from Peter earlier, so thank you, Peter, for sending those questions in. And if you have not sent in your mailbag questions, go and do them as soon as you can. Over the course of the next few days, I'll be cataloging those and writing down which ones that I think will be interesting to talk about on the podcast, and trying to answer all of them as much as I can on at least the page on smarkoutmoment.com. But yeah, that's happening, and you'll hear us next with the winner reveals of the Sexy Superstars tournament, and then probably, I guess, maybe the 2001 for July. Kind of depends on what Callum and Rob are up to, but follow them on Twitter, Wigmeister14 and Dude Felice, and see what they're up to, and, just kind of stay tuned. And I will see you next time, everybody. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and I'm being counted out.